Hey guys, this is my module 5, Understanding My Community. I live in Clearwater. Well, I teach in Clearwater, Kansas, which is south and west, a little bit of Wichita. We are a 4A district, right in the middle of 4A. Not a very good chance we'll either move up or go down. Sort of smack dab in the middle. We're a conservative district, both family and education. We're definitely a bedroom community with ties to the Wichita area, mainly in the airplane industry. Because of that, we have a lot of people coming in and out of Clearwater, and so it's become a very welcoming community. We have a couple of different religious groups that are pretty popular in the community and do a lot for the community. We know the know population characteristics. Most of our teachers, well, all the teachers in the district have a bachelor's degree, but we have a lot of paraprofessionals, secretaries, cooks that also have bachelor degrees. Our age of our staff is between 30 and 40 years old. Our stakeholders, majority have bachelor's or higher. It's hard to kind of gauge where they're at college-wise because, they've gone through and got different types of education because of the workplace they're in. Our community is 97% white, 3% or of a mix, and you can see that in the graph below. We have 30%, or below 30% free and reduced lunch, and the majority of our kids come from a non-traditional family. Very few in our district right now are from a traditional family, so that's been eye-opening and challenging. To know our community channels, we use a lot on Twitter and group text with especially our sporting events. Still use Facebook a little bit, but it's kind of going away. Our media outlets for the here and now are KWCH, KSN, and Kansas.com. Pretty much published everything with the English language. We only had 5 students last year in our whole district that ESL. We took our ESLs and moved it to a half-time position, and just not very many. Know our community groups. We have banks that are very involved and help support the school by bringing. They're the ones that bring lunch up to school. Sometimes they help out the beginning of school events and also at sporting events. Our church groups, they do a good job of rotating fifth quarters, which is a program that's on Fridays on home events where the junior high kids can go to and hang out. Our PTO is very active in the buildings. We have a representative for all 4 buildings, plus people that work underneath them, and they're pretty much there for anything, whether it be food or supplies or whatever you ask for. They're pretty much right there. We also have some local businesses that help out. We had a t-shirt giveaway, like a whiteout for a football game, and then they also brought down food trucks a few times. So, they do a lot for the community as well. Our leaders for our district, it starts with the top at Superintendent, Mr. Becker. Been there 4 years now. Done a really good job of explaining to the community about the bond issue that we were trying to pass, and then we did pass it. So now he's leading the construction phase of it. Very forward thinking. Curriculum director is a new position to Mr. Bielefeld. He also is a curriculum director, runs the PDC, runs the district leadership team, so he's got a lot of hats. Very educated man and does a good job of leading all those different programs. Because he left the middle school to be the curriculum director, we have a new middle school principal, which is Mr. Shipman. That's where I teach at in the middle school. He's done a good job learning a lot as he goes through his first year as a principal. All that influences teachers, which what helps influence the students, which then in turn goes home into the parents and to the committees or communities. Community leaders and characteristics. Our administration is very involved. They're not every administrator is at every activity, but there's an administrator at every activity. They do a good job of rotating that. They took over from long-term teachers or long-term leaders that were very active in the community, and they done a good job of filling those shoes. Because they're out in the community so much, they can listen to the stakeholders, and they also do a very good job of listening to the stakeholders. We don't always agree, we don't always do, but they always do a good job of listening. They to know our economic conditions. Our poverty rate in Clearwater is 9.9%, which is lower than the national average of 14%. Our median household income is $61,000 or a little above. Our median home cost is $130,800, which to me was a little low. It's very hard for the teachers talk. It's very hard for teachers actually to live in Clearwater because the houses that you would live in definitely do not cost $130,000. They're more than that. So we have a lot of people that commute into Clearwater. We'll talk about that in a second. And the Clearwater people, the people that live in Clearwater that own the houses, most of their jobs happen to be in Wichita. And another little diagram. To know the political structure, we're definitely split. Republican, Democrats. The last election, there's signs up, there's talk on the social medias, there's talk in the community. But once the election was over, the signs came down and everybody got back to supporting whatever side it won. The stakeholders in the community understand the state issues. The one political structure that's a little bit different is the teachers versus the board, I guess. And I hate to use the word versus, but it kind of is right now. Our board feels that we're getting teachers in because we're just, in their opinion, a great community. People want to be here, and that's true. But then they get here and they realize they can go other districts and make a lot more money, and they are. So we have a high turnover rate of young teachers right now. We're trying to get the board to understand that. They're coming around, but they're slow at doing so. The social tensions. Again, we 3%. We just don't have a whole lot of racial tension. Again, the students feel welcome that do come in, and so does their families. The extra source of income information. These are the ones that aren't the here and now. Our website, USA 264, Time Sentinel, it's a great little newspaper that has a lot of information about the events that are happening in the town. But it's a newspaper, so it comes out once a week. Our principals send out 2 emails, one to the staff and one to the public, being very transparent. That's something new this year, and it's really worked out. Got a lot of good feedback from it. The curriculum emails, our curriculum director sends out what's going on with the DLT, the PDC, any kind of meeting we have, he sends that out to the teachers. Again, so very transparent. Everyone knows the direction we're going. Power structures. Right now, the board leads. We've all been in districts where the board leads and maybe the superintendent leads, and right now the board's leading. It's not the best policy in the opinion of the school because they're not they're not invested in the school, as in they're not in the district. They're not in the classrooms. They're not the ones that are listening to the administration. They think they know the best, and they're making decisions based on that. And it's kind of backfired on a few things. So we need to get that kind of switched around to a 50-50 or a superintendent leads. But again, the principals are very visible and well liked. Multicultural issues, again, not much diversity, so not a lot of issues there. We're definitely a veteran community where we are transient. Everybody comes in. Not a lot of people leave Clearwater then come back, like some schools around. Multicultural education is mostly learned in the high school classrooms. Not a lot is happening from day to day, everyday life. It's mainly in a classroom setting. Our Spanish club is a pretty popular group, and they do go overseas every other year to get some diversity or some culture. Power structure. I think the stakeholders understand that the State Board of Education controls most of the power, then followed by the Board of Education superintendent principals. I think the majority of us and the board are open-minded towards all the stakeholders. They listen and try to help. Staff have knowledge from these groups dealing with funding, redesign. We went through a funding gap. We all did the last couple of years, and I think the stakeholders understand that. Now we're getting ready to the redesign and seeing how that goes. The districts make decisions based off of overall well-being for the district and the school, and I think that's very true and definitely a good thing. Measure the public opinion. The district leadership team sent out 3 surveys, one to each building. We took those surveys, we kind of chewed on the data for a while. Now we're trying to make some changes to show that we are listening to the voices. Again, we do voices from the PTO. They're the ones that are helping out in the community or helping out in the district with teachers or whatnot, and we definitely want their opinion as well. And then just being vocal and into the community, we listen. Sometimes that listening is actually reading on social media of what they think the school's going through, and again, a good outlet to kind of check how that's going. Public opinion surveys. Again, we send out the district leadership team. That's one way to do it. We only had 30% feedback I thought was really low, but our coordinator said that's actually a pretty good number. So we used that data and we're making some changes. And that was, again, divided into 3 different buildings. And that would be my survey. Thanks for listening.